Ethan had always believed that love was built on respect, not words. Every morning, he left for his small mechanic shop before sunrise, hands already stained with oil, but heart filled with quiet pride. He wasn't rich, not even close, but every car he fixed, every satisfied customer, made him feel like he was building something real, something lasting. His wife, Clara, was different. She worked in a tall glass building downtown, where people dressed sharp, spoke smooth, and looked down on men like Ethan. But she was his world once. Her laughter, her drive, her confidence had drawn him in. Lately, though, her laughter felt different, lighter around others, heavier around him. When she invited him to her company's annual party, he almost said no. He wasn't built for crowded rooms and polished conversations. But her smile convinced him. She said it'd be good for people to meet the man behind her support. Those words alone made him dress his best, the only suit he owned, polished shoes, hair slicked back like it was the first day they met. For her, he wanted to belong. At the party, everything sparkled except him. He stood quietly beside her as her coworkers circled around, asking questions, laughing easily. Then someone asked what he did for a living. Before he could answer, Clara chuckled, brushing her hair aside. "He fixes cars," she said, her tone playful but sharp enough to cut. Like an actual grease monkey. They laughed, unaware of the silence in his eyes. He smiled politely, pretending it didn't sting, pretending her words didn't turn his pride into something small and fragile. That night, driving home, the laughter echoed louder than the music. It wasn't a joke anymore, it was the sound of a love quietly losing its respect. The drive home was quiet, the kind of silence that burns more than words ever could. Clara scrolled through her phone, pretending nothing had happened, while Ethan kept his eyes on the dark road, gripping the steering wheel like it held him together. When she finally spoke, her voice was light, careless. "You're taking it too seriously, Ethan. It was just a joke." But he wasn't angry at the joke, he was broken by what it revealed. She wasn't proud of him anymore. Somewhere between her promotions and polished friends, she'd started seeing him as less. In the days that followed, something inside him shut down. He still went to the shop every morning, still smiled at customers, still wiped grease from his hands, but the warmth behind those smiles was gone. At home, Clara was always busy. Business dinners, late meetings, unexplained calls at odd hours. She'd leave wearing perfume he didn't recognize, clothes she never wore for him. Ethan told himself not to think too much. He wanted to believe she was still the woman he fell in love with. But love built on denial only delays heartbreak. One evening, he decided to surprise her with her favorite coffee, just to remind her he still cared. The receptionist hesitated when he asked for her, eyes darting toward the elevator before saying, "She's out with a client." Her tone cracked just enough to sound like truth hiding behind guilt. That night, Ethan parked across from her office, waiting. Hours passed until Clara appeared, laughing with a man from her department. The way she leaned into him wasn't professional, it was intimate. The man's hand brushed hers, and she didn't pull away. When she finally saw Ethan's car, her smile vanished. He didn't need to ask. The answer was already written in her eyes. Morning came heavy, the air between them thick with unspoken truth. Clara moved through the kitchen like nothing had happened, but her silence said everything. Ethan watched her, calm on the surface, storm underneath. When he finally spoke, his voice was low, steady. "Who is he?" She froze, the question hitting harder than anger ever could. "Just a colleague," she whispered, not meeting his eyes. Ethan gave a small, hollow laugh. "The kind who makes you forget you have a husband waiting outside?" Her lips parted, but no sound came. The guilt in her eyes answered before her words ever could. He wanted her to deny it, to fight for what they had, but instead she folded into excuses. "You've changed, Ethan," she said softly. "You don't understand me anymore." The words felt rehearsed, like something she'd been saving for a moment just like this. He looked at her, disbelief mixing with heartbreak. "Understand you," he repeated. "I've spent years building a life for us, giving you everything I could, and now I'm the one who doesn't understand?" Clara's tears came quick, but they carried no love, only shame. He listens to me, she said, her voice breaking. He makes me feel alive again. Ethan's chest tightened. Alive, he echoed. You think betrayal is living? His tone wasn't loud, but it cut deep. She reached for him, desperate, but he stepped back. You laughed at my job, Clara. You laughed at who I am. Maybe that's where this started, when you forgot what love was built on. She tried to speak, but the distance between them had already become something permanent. Ethan turned away, not in anger, but in acceptance. The truth had already ended their marriage. All that was left was the echo of what used to be. Weeks passed like quiet storms. The house they once filled with laughter stood hollow, each room carrying the ghost of what they'd lost. Ethan moved into a small space above his shop, a place that smelled of oil, rust, and peace. He poured himself into work, fixing what was broken in others while trying to mend the damage within. The ache was still there, but it no longer controlled him. Every bolt he tightened, every engine he revived, reminded him that healing doesn't happen through words, it happens through movement, through choosing to keep going when it hurts. Clara called sometimes, her voice fragile, heavy with regret. She wanted to talk, to meet, to undo what was done. But Ethan had learned that not every wound deserves reopening. One evening, she showed up, eyes red, pride gone. I ruined us, she said quietly. I thought success meant happiness. I thought I was outgrowing you, but I was just losing myself. Her confession didn't bring satisfaction, only clarity. He looked at her and saw the woman he once loved, but not the partner he could trust again. I'm not angry anymore, he told her. But respect doesn't come back once it's gone. You laughed at my life, Clara. You made me feel small for being exactly who I am. She cried harder, reaching for his hand, but he didn't move. I fix things for a living, he said softly. But I can't fix what you broke. As she walked away, he didn't chase her. There was no dramatic ending, no promises, no revenge, just peace. He turned back to his workbench, hands steady, heart light for the first time in months. Some stories don't end in reunion, they end in realization. He didn't fix their marriage, but he fixed himself, and that was enough.